Hey, all you wonderful people, and welcome to the first episode of the Silvercoin podcast. We are Gal and Lan, and I think we have been contemplating whether or not to start this podcast where we describe the game, our struggles, and basically anything new we feel like talking about and share with you. But in the end, I think it's a good idea to ramble about the game once or twice a month and perhaps even answer some of the questions some of you might have. But to start, I think the best way is to introduce ourselves, our role on the team, on the project. Maybe you can start, Lan.
Yeah, hi guys. My name is Lan, obviously. I'm his brother. I'm 32 years old. I'm the game designer. Also, could be considered a project lead, I guess. I'm the guy who got them all into this mess. And basically, we are coming from a small country of Slovenia, located in European Union. For those of you who still cannot locate the country on the map, that's basically in between the countries of Italy, Austria, Hungary, and Croatia. So a tiny country of 2 million people. That's where we're coming from.
Nice. Well, my name is Gal. I'm obviously his brother, just as much as he is mine. And I am the head of marketing and PR. I basically started on this project solely as a supporter, as a playtester, and then we kind of needed some help, basically with communicating with the community on social medias, and then even on marketing. So this is my area now, area of expertise. So yeah, Lan, let's basically describe our podcast and how often are we going to talk about and what exactly are we going to talk about on these monthly sessions, monthly rambling.
Yeah, I mean, you say monthly, I say, I don't know, probably weekly, bi-weekly or something, bi-weekly. It's the general idea, the gist of everything is basically that we wanted to create an environment where you guys are able to gather the information about the project if you want, where we can go more into details about certain things, where we can update the things that have been going on throughout the weeks, throughout the basically our entire journey. Because I guess we have been doing this for a long time now, a relatively long time, and we can then share our struggles, our findings, the things basically that we encounter as we go along this journey. And thus, maybe some of you will be listening just to see what are the obstacles that we are facing, what are the challenges. Maybe you will be able to learn more about us, the team, how the entire thing works, how you basically set up to prepare, and how you go through this project. So instead of us doing it, doing the entire crowdfunding thing, completing a project, and then bashfully talking about it, gloating how we did it and how everything is easy. We are going to basically be talking about how everything goes and how everything works from day to day. How actually some things can be annoying, some things can be a lot of struggle, can bring a lot of harsh times. And there are joyful times and there are less joyful times. But in the end, the joyful times should outnumber the rainy days, and because otherwise there is no point in doing this. I mean, you can say that you do it because you want to create yourself a business platform, a way to change some of the things that you're doing in your life, and maybe if successful enough, eventually do this for a living. But I think that going into this kind of thing, all of those thoughts need to be thrown out of the door. It's a big community, it's a big hobby, but it's far from easy to do things that we are doing. So I think it's going to be interesting for all of those who are wondering how this is done and how actually things are playing out as they are. So even if we fail, you're going to basically see us fail. Um, but of course, we're not going to fail,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, you get the point, right? You get the point. You can look at this as some kind of a blog that we are going to record, and it's not just going to be about the silver coin. It's not just going to be about how the project is run, how we are doing things. It's not just going to be about us, about the content creators.
Yeah, but the board game in general, right?
Yeah, it's going to be about the board game and the board games in general because um, in the end, I mean, we all are gamers, and it's important that you are a gamer, like a quite hardcore gamer when you go into this stuff because you need to know a lot of information and you need to be able to see the field. You need to be able to see what is out there. What are the things that you want to do? What are the things that you want to avoid? And like with any kind of profession or whatever, you basically need to know what is out there to be able to tell what is good or not, or let's say it in a more natural way, what is actually okay for you. What is it that you want from this project? And we're also going to be talking about our community and things things. Sorry guys, you're not things, you're not robot. Yeah, so yeah, about people, maybe cats, dogs later on, but so far none has joined. Shame, I say shame. But but yeah, we're going to be talking about those people also because we wouldn't be doing this if not for you. I mean, if we are going to do this for ourselves, then I mean, then we are kind of crazy, and I'll get my ass kicked out of the house pretty soon, because I mean, in the end, this still, even though we do it for the joy and so on, there is no denying it. We try to create a business out of it, and we approach it in a business sense. We approach it in a sense that we are very serious about this project, and we invest a lot of it, a lot of time, a lot of sweat, a lot of worries, a lot of, I don't know, harsh time moments with our families because of it. Yeah, it's true. This kind of thing will cause your family to suffer a bit, because I had, for instance, a talk with my girlfriend, with whom I have two kids, that basically that this is going to take a lot of the time and that this is not going to be easy.
Yeah, that's all true. So, with that being said, I think the first episode is not going to be really silver coin related, but more in general. So, the crowdfunding and why all the struggle. So, basically, the main reason why this is so challenging and so time consuming is not only for the game design, but because we intend to self publish, right? And we intend to crowdfund. So this is going to be an icebreaker for this episode, and to basically talk about all of the difficulties, all of the things we need to manage and do to succeed. So yeah, what do you think is the most important thing in general to talk about self-publishing, and why is it different from the to just publish the game via a company that does it regularly, right?
Um, yeah, for sure, the main difference and the thing that you need to be careful about at first, and many people are warning you about it if you go online, if you do your due diligence and you check things. But basically, it's all true. Depending also on the size of the project, of course. If it's a smaller project, then I think maybe even more so. But it doesn't even matter. So bigger or smaller project, what happens is basically if you came into the project looking that you just want to be a designer, you just want to make a game and you want to see it turn into a reality, then you need to find a publisher. You need to find someone who is going to basically sell your game, who is going to do all those things behind the curtains that you usually don't know about, when the game is published, right? It's like, I don't know, you come with an idea about building a car, you have the, maybe even the plans of how to build a car and so on, but you need a factory in the end. You need someone to market the car. You need someone to logistically make it happen and so on. So a lot of those kind of things, and this is just the tip of the iceberg that I just mentioned. But there is just so many things, and you need to know what you want to do. Do you want to just design, or do you want to have someone do it for you? So that's the first thing you need to settle.
Yeah, so basically with the self-publishing, you're not only designing the game, but you're trying to make business. You're trying to start a company, right? At the end of the game. So, and that is also the thing with Kickstarter, with crowdfunding in general. So, why do we even wanna crowdfund? Why is it not just the retail and the sell, right? Because we intend to crowdfund, and in general, board gaming is one of the major, if not the biggest area of the Kickstarter. And why is it so successful?
Yeah, it is the biggest. And I think it's just the way the community is run, the way things are done. It's like it's based on the community. The community, the entire principle of board gaming is getting people together to do something together, right? Like physically, right? You physically usually gather. I mean, of course, now you have platforms like Tabletopia, Tabletop Simulator, and so on. But what I'm trying to say is that the community is such that they want to see those projects succeed. They want to search for those projects, and that I think that was initial like good starting point to basically have the crowdfunding work for the board games. And Yeah,
Yeah, and so when we decided to go to the crowdfunding, right, we didn't really target Kickstarter specifically, so the biggest crowdfunding platform there is currently, right? But we kind of kept our minds open about it. So if that means going to GameFound or some other crowdfunding platform that might come in right during this time, we should do it and we will do it. Although Kickstarter is currently the most possible, right? But still, we want our game to succeed, and in the end, that's all it matters, right? Even if that means going to some other platform.
yeah. But with a caveat, and I sorry, I didn't fully answer your previous question. Now I realize. You basically asked me that why then doing it, right? Why do it like that? Why want to be a publisher? Why do you want to self-publish a game? So I will answer both of those really quickly. It's kind of it's a caveat, right? Like there is not really, like in my mind there was not really like succeed no matter what. It was not like that. At least not in a sense of make a game no matter what. Because for me, I'm still I consider myself a fairly reasonable person with trying to be objective, but all of us are probably subjective in the end. But the thing is that if the game is shit, the game is shit. So if the game is not good, then I will not try to force the game, because if the core principle of the game is not good enough for the market, then you're trying to twist and shape and market a product that is no good to be able to, to sell the product, to do the product. And I cannot do that. I cannot, even if it was possible, and it's probably harder because the product is shit. So even if if it would be possible, I would not feel good about it. So what came first was the initial reactions from people that are not just your friends, because reactions from friends never count, right? But initial reaction from the other people about the concept, about the game, and so on, and then that got the ball rolling, right? And in the end, we wanted to self-publish. We want to self-publish for a plethora of reasons. Like, first reason, probably the starting one, was that we realized that we want to have the control, that we have a bunch of ideas, and that we don't want to be basically put in a certain box by the publisher. So I mean, although we didn't discard the idea of publisher, we kind of liked to have to have the option to do some innovations in this field, like to do some things that others have not done, not just in a gaming sense, but in a project sense, in a way we are dealing with the people and with everything, right? And when you are leaving this to the publisher, that I mean, you can give your input, but it's not going to be the same. So that was the first thing. The second one was that the game is just massive. I mean, the game is, don't get me wrong, it's not, not it's not Kingdom Death Monster or campaign type of game or whatever, but the game is big. It's not a small game. The game is big enough that that will detract a lot of publishers, trust me. So when doing our due diligence and checking those things, we soon notice that that's also a problem, right? Because they are starting to look at the costs and so on. And here we come to the cost part, because it's not a game that's going to cost 20 euros, 30 euros, 40 euros. I'm not telling you how much it's going to cost because I don't know yet. I have not calculated all the things that I need to calculate yet, but it's definitely not going to be, in that small ballpark area. It's going to be like usually with these big box games, it's going to have a higher price, and publishers usually don't want to deal with that. Those things are reserved for Kickstarters because only people directly backing um, can then make it happen, right? So those were like the main principles about why do it ourselves. And I think that we wanted, or I wanted to have some of the controls, and I was willing, and I'm still willing to take a lot of obstacles, to take on a lot of obstacles on my way and so on, and to learn about this, and then try to bring something also to this area of Europe, so that we have gaming companies who are able to make this project a reality, and then further projects, and we can actually offer something to this market and to the people who are looking to design games, maybe even in Slovenia and so on. So that was like further looking into the entire thing, but we will see where it goes, right? For now, the main object and the main goal is to basically create an awesome game. And if it's awesome enough, then of course you can move on from there.
Yeah, people will support it. So if we continue with that, we've been making, I mean, you've been making this game for like 7 years now. I mean, it stopped in between, but still, I remember it was first made for me and my sister, for us to play, right? And you've been making a lot of games, like for just the family, right? So you drawn the map, you um, made up rules, or maybe even took the existing rules of some game and adjusted and twisted them a little bit. But it was fun, and this is how this game started, right? Um, at first, it was called Witcher, right? Because I mean, let's not hide it. We loved the Witcher series, the books, the PC game, and so you made the map, and we kind of played, and it was fun. We rolled the dice. There were stories, there were events, but this game changed a lot since then. So if we go back, why did you even want to publish it, right? To make it a reality at this point?
Yeah, most of the people in this hobby, most designers start like that. Like it was even before 7, 8 years ago. It was even 10 years plus ago. Yeah, I would make a game or whatever, right? And then yeah, we would play it, me and you maybe, or as a family, or you know, you try to do those kind of things as a kid, as a young person, and then basically at the start it was just for fun. Um, when I first started drawing this game, and I'm really bad at drawing, like like super bad, like those type of people that you don't want to have in your team when you're playing stuff like Pictomania or whatever, activity. You don't want those type of people drawing stuff for you, trying to guess their artwork. It's not going to work. You're not going to guess it. I'm good for games like uh, artist goes to the New York or whatever. A fake artist goes to New York. For those type of games, I'm good because no one can guess what the heck I'm drawing. Uh, but for this kind of game, I did my best. Like, yeah, I was inspired by Witcher. This game is inspired by Witcher. Like, there is no other way. We don't need to hide it. Like, I even contacted CD Projekt Red at some point about making this game. And back then, Ignacy Trzewiszewski was making the Witcher adventure board game with Fantasy Flight. So even though they were interested in it and so on, they kind of said that thank you, and if we ever need you, we're going to contact you, right? So it all spiraled from there. And so why did I even want to publish a game? It's not just because it's cool, but because people around you see that you have something that is potentially good enough for the market, and they tell you, they push you in that direction. And of course, at the beginning, those are friends, right? So they on their own basically are starting to tell you, look, this is good. Why don't you make a game for real, right? And then you start playing with that idea, and then if you're serious enough, at one point it happens, and you also need to have the right people around you. For a project like this, you either need to be, I don't know, Vincent Dutray, so some guy who can do really amazing art, who can do design, so like Ryan Lockett, who can do it all guy, or basically you need to have a really good team around you. And in this case, I did. Like, it started with our graphic designer, so Maki. He was the one who basically pushed me to that point that I would start making a game.
Yeah, so, and now we're here. We're basically doing it seriously, quote to quote seriously, for more than a year, or for about a year now. And this has gotten really serious, and we need to manage a lot of things, and it has gone out of control many times already. But we can talk about all of the things we need to manage. We already mentioned some of those, like for example, marketing is one of these aspects, or PR, the stuff I am working on. The others are graphical design, maybe art. As you said, you never drawn good, right? You've always been poor in all of this mechanical stuff, or how can I say it? But we've seen we found some people to do it, right? And there are still all of the other things to manage, like logistics and stuff. Have I forgotten something? Probably a lot, right?
Probably a lot of stuff that we'll encounter along the way, but yeah, there is a lot of it. And actually the game, like serious work on the game, has been over one year and a half now. So we started like officially really doing this on September 2019. So yeah, this has been 1 year and a half plus. And before that, we had the concept from 7 years ago. So it was not like we started from scratch. We started from a concept I already made like 7 years ago, 7+ years ago. So from there on, then it just started. The entire thing started. Yeah.
Nice, and I think let's talk about the team. So we already know me and you as a game designer and PR lead of PR, I guess. But there are two other people, right? And both of them are our friends. At least we consider them so. And these are Maki and Rok, so the graphic designer and our artist. How do we cooperate? How do we work? Basically, our relationship and our work ethic and stuff. And maybe to even introduce them. We'll probably have them even on our next podcasts to talk about, for example, when we talk about art and how we do it and why we do it and what is the theme about it and the inspirations and stuff. We'll probably have Rok here to say something more and to tell his perspective on all of those things. But
Yeah. We started, as I said, with the graphic designer Maki. So the two of us started this before dragging you into the entire mess. And actually, the third person to join was Rok, the artist. And Rok was not a friend. Rok was a person that the my girlfriend knew from school. So she just mentioned that he was visiting the artist academy, and that he's basically a professional illustrator in a sense, and that it would be maybe interesting to contact him. So I did. So I did my sales pitch to him, and he was interested and young enough, I guess, to still be able to do this. And he said, "Yeah, let's do it." And ever since, he was on board. And you were the last one to officially join the four-man band that we are now. Um, and I basically said, "Look, we are going to need someone to focus specifically on PR and marketing, because those things we are doing, but we need someone focused on that. It's a big enough area to have someone focused on that so we can do our job properly and we can do all other things that need to be done." So yeah, from that point on, you join also. But then there is a bunch of other guys that are doing stuff. There is artist that is doing additional artwork, and he's from
Philippines.
totally different country, yeah, Philippines. Then we have the internal playtesting group of two other guys who are doing the first those internal play tests with us, Bor and Chert. So they are both in that sense with the team. Then we have Yesenko that you brought, Luca. He came to join the team also, and is I consider him part of, as the that broad spectrum of the team also, and he is basically working on our website and stuff like that. And then there are others who are from the community helping out. Like, I mean, I can
Translating
in
the
one.
rulebook and stuff, yeah, and
Yeah,
spell
yeah, I
checking.
can. Yeah. I can consider that all of them a team member in some sense, right? And it wouldn't be possible. It will not be possible without all of those people, and God knows who else will come along and help us um, in this journey, right?
Yeah, and talking about this, it's really been amazing so far how many people were willing to help, and not just by spell checking the rule book or by helping playtest or by giving advice. It was also when asking for help or for general information, and everyone was so willing to help and strive. Seeing this game has potential, trying to make it happen, to make it succeed, right? And I think this is also the point when we thank each other, all of them, right, and also each other, right. But even though some of them will not ever maybe hear this and listen to this podcast, but even so, I think it's fair enough to thank them all because it's
Yeah.
really been amazing.
Thank you guys. And it's not that's not true. Not everyone was willing to help and share. So before people start to imagine, Ponyland or rainbows and stuff like that, not everything is as nice. Sometimes you contact people, you try to ask them something, you maybe try to get an additional playtester or whatever, and some people will be on the offensive right away. Like, for first of all, they will think you're trying to market the game. Sometimes you even want to try to market the game, but in a really polite, normal way. And some people just take it in a different way. But I agree that most of them, or almost all of them, in the end, if you're polite enough, if you just follow some kind of moral code of those things, will be there to at least um, be able to say okay, thank you, but thank you thank you not. So yeah, that they are not going to be pissed about it in the end if you're still polite, and you're not enforcing anything. But it is not true that everyone will want to help. There are the usual suspects of, either just, jealousy or I don't know, lacking the will to help other people, or sometimes even other things, but those are really few and far between. So most of them are really joyful, nice experience, and that's one of the best things about this entire journey. The people that you meet along the way, and the stories about some little things that you can share at the end when you're looking back. And you wouldn't get those kind of things by just being a designer. You wouldn't get those.
Yeah, this was also one of the things I wanted to mention, right? So when basically doing this type of things, there's a lot of people you meet, you interact with, you communicate with, right? And a lot of them are really nice people, and some of them even become your colleagues, your contacts for later, right? Or even your friends that you have regular contact with. But um, it's fun, yes. It's really an amazing experience, right? And even though some of the time, like you said, it can escalate in the wrong direction, right? People can take things in the wrong way, and there are like these bonfires, problems that start spreading, right? And you need to put them out, go to the forums or go to the people and tell them that they took it wrong way, right? And but it's still special experience. It's still fun. Fun.
It's fun. If you take it in a relaxing way, that you know that your intentions are good, that that basically people are just different, and you run into people in different situations also. Like someone can have a bad day, and whatever. So you need to understand those type of things, and you need to be tolerant, even if on the other side you maybe get a person that is not. And you just need to be you just need to have fun and try to put the stress aside. And sometimes it's hard, but you need to do it, because otherwise you're just killing yourself for the wrong things, for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Also, one of the things with self-publishing, maybe the last one we talk about today, or not, we'll see, is the budget, right? Because it is expensive to self-publish a game. And I'm not going to, and we're not going to go in details in the specific numbers, right? But there are a lot of costs that you don't normally think about. And I'm not just talking about the normal, the obvious suspects like the production, the art, right? But a lot of things like, for example, conventions, the marketing, right? We're just going to Essen, right, this October, and the receipt just came in and it shocked the entire team. And all of that is just to be there, right? Just to present yourself, just to make them notice you. So yeah, all of those costs would not be here if we, for example, published with another company that does this regularly, right? Eh,
Maybe. But yeah, for sure you're right that there are a lot of costs. And before even mentioning money, I would say time. Time is the biggest cost that you have with this type of project. And I cannot understate or overstate, overstate how much time is of essence. That you need to take time for this type of thing, and you need to talk it out with your family. For instance, if you have people living with you and so on, that this is going to take a lot of time. If you're going to do it properly, this is going to take so much time that sometimes some things are going to suffer, and that they need to warn you about it, because if you get lost in your work, you basically are, doing it not on purpose, but just because you love your work and you try to do your best. And sometimes, you just overstep some boundaries about how those things work, because family and stuff like that still comes first, right? So that's the first thing that I really want to say before even talking about the literal dollars, euros, whatever, right? But yeah, talking about those costs, there are a lot of costs that are associated, and then depending on what you want to do and how you do it. But like, just from the top of my head, Of course, there is like production stuff. There are prototypes that you are making along the way, and you're paying for those prototypes. Then there are like costs associated with the website hosting, costs associated with, for instance, we have the entire game on the digital platform Tabletopia, which is free to use, and that was the reason that we wanted to do it. We didn't want to have other people pay to help us play test the game and so on, right? So that's why we chose Tabletop, even though Tabletop Simulator was much preferred and used throughout the community. But we said, no, let's do Tabletopia because Tabletopia enables everyone to join just through the browser, and they don't have to pay anything to do it. So we wanted to make sure that other people don't pay to help us develop the game. But we have to pay each month. We get a receipt for hosting on Tabletopia, for having that premium top-notch membership. Yeah, and that adds up. In 1 year and a half, that adds up. So that's that then. Then you have the art. The art is expensive. Like we are getting art cheap, like in a sense of where the market is at. We're getting art pieces cheap, but still we have a big chunk of art, and that's going to cost probably the most in the entire project, like just individually speaking, like the cost that we are prepared to do, that's the most. Graphical design, thank God Maki is doing it uh, for free for now.
For passion.
Yeah, until he starts charging me. But yeah, but yeah, for now it's free. So we are skipping costs there. And then there are going to be probably marketing costs. Like one of the marketing costs in a way is the Essen fair, the Essen Spiel that you're talking about, because to be an exhibitor, to basically present your game there, there are a lot of costs associated with that. And the funny thing about it is, you say we go there October. The funny thing is, we don't even know. We don't even know if we're going to go there. If we're going to go to the SSO, there are going to be costs. Even if the entire thing falls apart and we get a refund, we still had to pay some money for the accommodation and so on that we are not going to get back. We are still going to make some preparations, and that's going to cost us money, and we are not going to get it back. Then we are going to, yeah, a lot of costs. Like without going into too much detail, there is a lot of costs, and the entire COVID situation is not helping with those type of things. Thank God there are platforms like Tabletopia and so on that enables you to still develop your game and so on. But in general, like we are not able to attend conventions. Kickstarter contacted me late last year because they were opening in Slovenia, so they wanted to see the board game projects because they are very interested in that topic. But basically, they contacted us, and when I talked with Kickstarter, even like they understand that there is nothing that can replace the real convention. No digital convention, no, makeup stuff that they do right now. Like nothing can really replace the real convention when doing those type of things. So yeah, and then the crowdfunding and all of it is going to be also connected, and sending your game to reviewers. Some of them needs to be payable content probably because at least one of them needs to be someone well established, known, so that people are not just going to take our word and some unknown people, but maybe someone who is more established and so on, and can do the game justice and present it uh, as objectively as possible. So yeah, all of that and more is going to take money from your pocket, and yeah, those are the things that you need to know, and you need to have funds prepared to do it. And in the end, that's still not enough. And that's where the people come in. And that's why you go to crowdfunding and say, look, I want to make this happen. I have spent a lot of resources to bring it to this point. Otherwise, because if I just present my plans and so on, you're not going to back me. So I actually need the competition has become so stiff that you actually need to get your product to a very professional level to be able to even compete for attention. Forget about the dollars, compete for attention. All, for instance, I want to see is people noticing our project. Then I'm confident enough that there are people out there who are going to love it, who are going to like it. I'm confident in our product, so that's good. But still, my confidence in the product is not enough. I need to actually pay or make sure that we grab the people's attention to even have a look at the project. And nowadays in crowdfunding, when this was supposed to be a platform that is helping those startups, small companies, people like us, right, who basically are doing it from nothing at first and try to do it, and really need people to do it. No, nowadays there are big companies taking Kickstarter, using Kickstarter as pre-order platform, as basically a supermarket, a good advertising platform for their projects, and also to have everything listed, to know exactly how many amounts they need to print and so on. So they have seen other advantages of the crowdfunding projects and they are using them. And when you're competing about against billion-dollar companies, these huge companies, of course it's going to be hard. Of course it's going to be hard. So that's why I strongly believe that this is not going to actually last forever. Like, maybe we are still at some gray point that self-publishing is still somewhat possible and so on, but I think it's going to get worse and worse because more and more people are going to follow the money, and the money is at crowdfunding. Board gaming is making billions of dollars selling games. Like the biggest product basically was 13 million, Frosthaven, right? So we're not talking about small numbers. We're talking about big numbers, and big numbers attract big companies, and big companies will devour you, will make sure that you are cast into their shade, and then you need to, find your flashlight and try to, wave and make an SOS signal. Hey, I'm here. Take a look at my project. I promise it's good, right? So that's where we are at. So anyone listening this, anyone checking the project, if you think it's cool, and I'm saying only if you think it's cool, share it, love it, subscribe, follow, back us, right? But if you think it's shit, don't do it. Maybe tell others that it's not good. I'm confident enough in the product that I know that some people will probably not like it, but I think that there is a nice market for the product because I think it's good. So, yeah.
Yeah, and in the end, this is all it matters, right? We need to believe in it.
Yeah. Believe it.
Believe it. But yeah, I think this
Oh,
is the good point to kind of conclude this whole episode. It was long enough. I think it was about 40 minutes long or something. But yeah, in the end, I think I had fun. We kind of experimented a bit. We talked about what to discuss here. I think self-publishing was basically a good starting point, a good icebreaker, and at the end, we had fun. I hope you guys also kind of learned something from it, or even get to know us as a team, as a project, and maybe we'll see what to talk about next. Maybe art, maybe marketing, maybe game design and the game rules or something. We'll figure it out along the way.
maybe the weather. Why not the weather, right?
Also
For
the
the
weather,
Brit for
yes.
the British people out there, right? Uh, but yeah, it's cool. Maybe we ran it a tad too long, but because in the end, I want to have like short episodes that have like one main topic, and then people can pick and choose what they want to listen and so on. But yeah, for sure, I think it's fun. I think it's going to be nice, even if no one listens, just to look back on these podcasts and how this was done, because it's kind of a recording of how the journey went. So I think that's going to be nice when you look back and see how that was done.
Yeah. So yeah, this is it, and thanks for listening.
Yeah,
And see
take
you
care,
next time.
guys.